welcoming two-time Gemini Award winner, Miss Sarah Polley. So you say that being famous in Canada is very different from being famous anywhere else?
Yeah, because you kind of don't get famous here, so that's what's nice.
Why not?
We have a different relationship, I think, to the idea of celebrity, which is that I don't think we care that much about it. You know, I'm not like a huge American star, so you know, it would probably be different if, you know, I was famous on a different level. But I find there's just, people aren't seduced by that kind of thing in the same way they are in the States.
Your performance in The Sweet Hereafter was brilliant.
Thank you.
How did you prepare for that role?
I really started from scratch with that film. I mean, the process when you're a child and you're on a TV show is very much kind of learn your lines and hit your mark and try to be a little bit charming. And that's what I did for the first, I guess, 11 or 12 years I was acting, as a kid. And then I had that break that I ran into Adam McGoyan. At this press conference, he handed me the script and said, oh, it was, wanting you to read, it was The Sweet Hereafter. And I thought, this would be a good break. Like, just to take my mind off things for a couple months, and then I'll go back, and then that'll be the last acting thing I do. And then that was the first time I think I ever really fell in love with acting. But yeah, that was like a really bizarre thing, because it was a bit of a fluke, and it came out of nowhere, and it ended up being the thing that actually made me really fall in love with acting and make me feel like it was something that you could really kind of contribute by doing.
An agent of yours once said that someday they're going to write a book about all the films you didn't do.
She said it when she was drunk.
I'm not going to let you get off of this. Let me be Larry King. It does say something about Cameron Crowe wanting you to do the starring role in Almost Famous.
Yeah. I was in rehearsals for Almost Famous for about a month, and then didn't do it.
That takes a lot of guts.
It's a long and complicated answer, but yeah, I mean, ultimately I think I didn't have a sense of a lot of things at that point in my life, but I had a sense of the kind of life that I didn't want. Mm-hmm. And it's probably Kate Hudson's life exactly that I didn't want. I think it's exactly like, and ultimately I think, I knew in my gut that I was the wrong person for that part. And when I saw that movie, I felt totally justified and vindicated by that decision, because I actually think she did an amazing job, and she did a job I would have never done in that part. And I'm not just being gracious. I really believe that. So, I have this thing about, I want to do independent art films, and if I'm gonna go Hollywood, I'm gonna go Hollywood. Like, I don't want to be in a mainstream movie that is posing as an independent film. I want to do Dawn of the Dead. Like, I want to be in a Hollywood movie. I sort of don't believe in the middle ground.
Now, talk about how they pitched that movie to you, because that's
that was good. My agent called me and said, don't laugh. And then she said, they're making a remake of Dawn of the Dead, and the producer and the director are in town, and they want to just meet you. Like, there's this restaurant I go to all the time that's on my corner, and just go sit down with them. Don't even read the script. Like, don't read the script. Just go read it. And I went down, I met them like the next night, and they were the two of the funniest people I'd ever met in my life. And it was one of those ridiculous things where you just kind of decide this will either be great or the worst thing in the world. Mm. And it's kind of worth it. If I sink, I'll sink with these people, and they're worth sinking with.
And you had some experience about you first learning how to use a gun? Yeah,
with like a crazy, right-wing American militia guy. It was like the scariest thing in the world. The way he taught me the way the safety catch worked was, I like to remember it like left is unsafe, like the people we're shooting at, and right is safe, like the government. That's how I learned how to use a shotgun.
TV.